There we go. Okay. I'm going to start over. Okay. If you were going to invest in any sort of investment, if you invest in it, obviously you're expecting and hoping that the value of it goes up, right? It's called appreciation. You hope the value of it goes up. You're hoping you're buying here and hoping it will eventually be up here and you own it, you sell it, you do whatever. That's called going long. That's going long. That's a trading term, if you will. If you're going to go short in an investment, that means that you think some value of something is right here and you think it's going to be down here. So you're going to short it, is what it's called. You're going to go short saying, I hope that it goes down. And when it does, I'm going to make the spread there. Here's why I say that. That's those are investing terms, but I ask you this question. If that was people, who in your life would you go long on? Have you ever thought about that? Who would you go long on? Who in your life around you are you like, yeah, they're here today. What is it? July 2026, but I'm telling you right now, July 2027, they're going to be up here. Like they're going places, they're moving, their mindset's right, their work ethic's right. They I'm going to go long on them. And then who would you go short on? Think about that. Write down at least one or two names on each of them. Like who would you go long on? Who would you go short on? I'm going somewhere with this. Because everyone, I think, in our life, we have people that we'd go long on and we have people that we'd go short on if we were being honest. Now, I know it's kind of like harsh to say, yeah, I'd probably go short on them, but let's be honest. There's a lot of people that when we look at, we go, your life's not on a trajectory to where I think you're going to be in a better position 6 months or 12 months from now, right? That's just people, that's life. It's just how it is. Okay, we'll circle back to that. Next question. Who do you say you are? I was watching something the other day. I forget what it is, and somebody said, "What well, what do you do?" And the person goes, well, why is that always the first question? Why do we identify ourselves as the vocation that we have? What if we were just like, "Who are you? Tell me your story." Joe's good at that, actually. She says all the time to people, "Just tell me your story. Who are you?" What you do is so secondary to who you are. So, who are you? Have you ever thought about that? If somebody asked you right now, "Who are you?" Right? Who is Belinda? Who is Joe? Who's Christina? Who's Lucy? Who's Pixie? Like, who are you? Do you have an answer for that? Okay, so here's the big idea. When you think of your identity, there's three ways, or there's three versions of yourself. Number one is your past self. Now, your past self, I want you to keep this in mind. Your past is stories on repeat from your past. When you think about your identity in your past, it's stories that have already happened that are just on repeat, right? Defining your identity of your past. Your future self. Your future self, think about this, listens to your past self. Of course it does, right? It's the only thing it knows to identify you. So your present self is stuck in the middle, staying and saying exactly who you are, meaning no growth. You are every day when you go by, your future self still tells yourself about your past self, and you're stuck. You're absolutely stuck where you are. We want to be better. We want to improve. We want to go long on ourselves, if you will. But man, every day we wake up and our future self continues to remind us of our past self. Think about your past self. All the reasons why you can't, all the reasons why you're not qualified, all the reasons why you haven't yet, all the reasons why this, all the reasons why that, right? Your brokenness, your heartache, your lack of, whatever it may be, to get you to where you are. That is a lot of times how our mind works, and that is a lot of times how we stay stuck. So, one of the best ways to get yourself out of this kind of hamster wheel of thinking is not to make a to-do list of things that you need to do to be a better version of yourself, but it's to make a to-be list. And a to-be list is this right here. What behaviors do I need to have today to turn me into the person that I want to be? What behaviors do you need to have today to turn me into the person that I want to be? So that tomorrow when you wake up, your future self is not just on repeat about your past self, telling yourself you're the same version, you're the same person, keeping you stuck. A to be list, right? Um, this is really easy to explain in like my kid's life right now because all Ryder wants to be is a professional tennis player, right? Like that's all he wants to be. And so his to be list, right, every single day he wants to be a certain level of tennis player. They rank people and he has a rating right now and he wants to be this rank. So every day when he goes out, like we've been here 3 days and he hasn't played tennis for 3 days, and we just had this conversation. He's losing his mind because he feels like his to be list is not being met. And I can appreciate that. It's a valid point, right? That's your to be list. Um, to be for myself. Another real easy example, and I know this sounds so silly, but this is just how I can relate things. It's real simple and dumb. Um, I want to be somebody that takes care of themselves physically. And so for 3 days, I haven't been able to work out because there's no gym here and like it's a long way away and we're trying to be with family. And it's really messing with me. It's like I want to be someone that, for example, like when I take my shirt off, I'm like, I take care of myself. I know that sounds so vain and so foolish, but I want to be that person because and this is where it goes a little deeper. If I don't take care of myself physically, mentally, I'm messed up. I don't know why, but God just kind of made that little wire in my brain, and I think a lot of our brains. Tony Robbins says if you want to change your emotions, the first thing you do is you change your state. As soon as you get physical, your mental starts to change, right? And so that is what I want to be. Does that make sense? And so same thing, like if you think about that in this business, it's not as much of how much money you want to make or what rank you want to be, but who do you want to be inside of this business? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person that, once again, works an hour a day and looks up in a month and doesn't have a lot to show for it, or do you want to be the person that maybe works the extra hour? Maybe you try to put in 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, try to do the 10-2-1 method, looks up in a month and has made some progress. You are the type of person that dedicates the time and the energy to get to where you want to be, right? So it's all about identity. Now the other thing is this: you can edit your past story. Past story can be edited. So what happened to you in the past does not define your future. You can edit it. In fact, I think Ed Milet's the first person I ever heard say it. You are more qualified. In fact, you are the most qualified to help the person that you used to be. Ed Milet talks about his dad, and he's an alcoholic for maybe the first 15 years of his life or something like that. And then he went to AA and he ended up living, he recovered, right, for the rest of his life. And his dad was most qualified to help other people that were struggling with that addiction. And so like he became the sponsor of so many dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds of people over his life to help them overcome their alcohol addiction. He was most qualified to do that. Somebody that has an addiction like that, somebody that's never had an addiction like that, it's very hard for the person that's struggling with that to listen to somebody that's never struggled with that help them, right? That doesn't even make sense. It's like asking somebody that's never been married to give you their best marriage advice. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so your past actually qualifies you to be the most qualified person to actually help people overcome that. And the other thing about it is you also have to think for everything in your past that you would look at and go, man, that was tough. Like that was maybe I was a maybe I was a victim here, or maybe I'm just going to keep the word victim. I'll use victim again. You can rewrite it into you being the hero. You don't have to be the victim of your past. You can be the hero of your past. You are here today. You are on this call. You have overcome whatever it may be. You are the hero of your story. You're not the victim. A victim's mentality is the fastest way, in my opinion, to a depressed life. You are the hero. You can edit it. And when you start editing your past and you find things and reasons and validations to, yeah, you know what? I did really mess up and I was struggling for a long time in XYZ, but I overcame that. I conquered that. I got through that. Or I'm conquering that. I'm getting through that. Right? Like that's the hero side that you have to edit your past. And so when I go all the way back, and then I'm done. When I go all the way back to the beginning, who would you go long on and who would you go short on? The ultimate question is, would you go long or short on yourself? What would you say today? Would you bet on yourself that in a year from now you're going to be a much better version of yourself? You're going to be in a better state physically, financially, emotionally, relationally, spiritually? Or if we're being honest, would we go short or would we say it's kind of flat? I think that's the question that we all have to answer, and that's where we have to um, be vulnerable and be honest about it, and then take action. So once again, past self, stories on repeat from our past. Future self just listens to your past self. Your present self gets stuck in the middle, staying who you are and who you keep telling yourself you are. To change it, make it to be list. Who do I want to be? What behaviors do I need to have today to turn me into the person that I want to be? And then edit your past story. Find the hero in that story, not the victim. And then I'll leave you with this, and then I'll turn it over to anybody that wants to share. More often than not, the only thing between you and your dream is a rational excuse. More often than not. Okay. Sorry, got a phone call. Would anybody like to share?
Yeah, all I can say is, wow. Honestly, Kyle, so simple and so powerful and so true. You've just taken the essence. And I love that. But I have to say, when you're saying to be, I was thinking of Frank Sinatra's doobie, 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 which is kind of like that's what it is, isn't it? To be, do the being.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, but I
It's good.
love that. I absolutely love that. And it's so pertinent. Honestly, there must be something in the atmosphere because I was doing kind of meditation this morning and it was the same talking about future self, past self. And I thought, there's a message here. You know, we think that we're actually being present, but I mean, how present are we? We got like the little list going on in our head, and the list is based on something of who we used to be or where we want to go. And we have to have that way of being, um, you have to be able to hold it all. And then it's something about the being present and really being present in that place of being that lets you take what is essential to take your next steps.
Good. I like that. It's
Yeah.
good, Pixie. Thank you for sharing that. It's really good. It's called, it's the power of presence is a real thing. I forget, I'm going to mess up literally where the study came from and the numbers, but there was a study that was done talking about how likely a child is to be caught up in drugs, alcohol, or crime if they don't have a dad around the house. And it's like, obviously, as you can imagine, exponential. And the study showed and proved that even if the dad is kind of a deadbeat dad and really doesn't pour into the kids, the power of his presence takes that percentage and just crushes it to the floor. The power of presence. And so to your point, like how much more so the power of our own presence, like with our own self and where we are and the focus that we so often don't have because every 5 seconds we're looking at this thing, right?
Just imagine, Kyle, if we brought ourselves undiluted fully in each moment. Boy, those steps we take would be so different.
Good. It's good, Pixie. Yep.
So I have something.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a salesperson. So a lot of people, your job is to go to work and they essentially lay out what you need to do, and you do that thing and you continue to do that thing over and over again, whether you work in a factory or whether you're office, right? You don't have to learn on a daily basis, right? But on in sales, you have no idea how you're going to deal with the person in front of you. As an example, I have 30 minutes to build a relationship and sell somebody a $70,000 device.
Mm.
My goal as a salesperson is to see 100 people who can make that positive decision so that I cannot succeed 90 to 95% of the time, but I can learn the objections so that the next 100 I can succeed 30% of the time, right? So it's a process of learning, okay, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. Oh, that seemed to work a little bit. Let me work on that on the next presentation, right? So in sales, you're looking to fail as quickly as possible so that you can learn to succeed. And then after, 100, 200, 300 presentations, everything is easy. And I'm sure that's the same way with Pixie, who's a doctor. The learning process was difficult, but then once you have that knowledge, it becomes very easy. I think the challenge in this business is you bump up against the failure and then you think it has something to do with the business, and it's just a learning curve. I think we just have to do enough to get to the point where you're casual with the information. Nobody's going to knock you down. You're solid in the information and your belief. You understand what's happening. You look out into the larger picture and you can see, look at this person is growing a business. This person's growing a business. These are the type of people they're attracting. That too will be me. I just have to get past the trees that are blocking me so I can get to the forest where the opportunity is. So it's a rethinking for me too to do this, even though I've been in sales for 25
Yeah.
years.
There's so much wisdom in what you just said. Thank you for sharing that, Joe.
Thanks.
There's so much wisdom. And that's, would you agree that, I mean, that's probably, I'm not going to say 100%, but 98% of the time, the reason people fail and quit is they just cannot deal with that failure.
Yeah, because they think that it's me, not it doesn't fit the doctor's timeline. More often than not, that's the case. Um, it doesn't fit with their larger image of where they want to go. But a year from now, they're going to change their mind. 2 years from now, they're going to change their mind. We get that all the time where you get a
Mm.
call back from somebody you haven't talked to in 2 to 3 years. Sounds like that happens in this industry too, right? But instead of saying just wrong time, maybe I presented it poorly, I can improve my presentation skills. We instead think it's us. I can't do it. And so I would suggest that you put the word yet in there, right? I can't do it yet. I have more to learn. I have to try a different way of presenting. I got to present to more people, right? That becomes the growth opportunity. That becomes the skill set advance you're looking for. Um, so that's what I try to do is just, okay, that one didn't work. What do I need to learn from that? What's the opportunity? Um, and still continue to chase it down.
Man, that's so good. That's so good. I was about to ask you, so like when you get from somebody that's been in sales for 25 years, when you get on the phone with somebody and they turn you down, I was
Yeah.
going to ask you, and I think you just answered it, but what's the first thing that you think and tell yourself?
Not today, right? Uh, a lot of times it's you just didn't have enough time to get a point across. They weren't listening. Um, they look at the expense side as opposed to the reward side. A lot of times it's just they too have to move. They're making a change, right? Everybody is making a change. Even good change is difficult, right? So whatever the benefit is has to outweigh the problem associated with the change, right? So we see fear or we see reward.
Mm.
So my goal is to get them to the emotional point where they can see the reward and it overweighs the fear, right?
Gosh, that's
But
so good.
but if they don't want to go forward, that's fine too. I have a
Yeah.
very large list of doctors to talk to.
Okay, so I feel like we're getting a PhD into sales right now. Thank you so much for talking, Joe, and sharing all this. This is amazing. So I have a follow-up question, okay?
Sure.
So you just said that you're trying to, it's either fear or reward, and that you're trying to get them to the emotional state of understanding the reward. So
Right.
when you're talking to somebody, I guess just that's a big statement to me because facts don't really get you to emotion. So can you
Correct.
can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. So, um, in the medical world, doctors' reimbursements are dropping rapidly, right? So they're financially invested in finding a solution because they know they can't continue to do what they're doing, right?
Mm.
So what we want to do is talk about two things. One, no doctor will buy if it's not patient-based. It has to create a solution for the patient because the doctor's not going to buy something so he makes money, but the patient doesn't benefit, right? Same thing with this. The person using the patch benefits, right? So you got to get them excited about the clinical benefits that they can now offer to their patients, and then the financial reward that that will bring, and then help them paint the vision of what their practice will be when you have people coming back to you saying, "Thank you very much. I so appreciate yet you made that investment in me." And when I listen to people talk about LifeWave, it's the same thing. Thank you much for taking the time and making the call and bringing this to my attention, right? So if we paid more attention to those responses and not the, no, I'm not interested in an MLM, we wouldn't worry about that, right? We would just put those to the side temporarily and keep going after the people who are saying to us, oh my God, I can't believe how much better X, Y, and Z is because you were willing to make a call.
So good. Gosh, that's so good. Y'all getting this? This is so good. Okay, I got one more question because this is, I mean, you're an absolute, you're well, you're an expert. You have way more than 10,000 hours, so you're an expert in this field for sure. Um, you've been doing what you're doing for how long? 25 years?
25 years.
What is your fail rate?
Oh, 70 to 80%. Yeah.
Guys,
I don't have to.
70 to 80% after 2.5 decades of perfecting it.
Right.
That
Yeah.
has to, like, people have to resonate with that. And at some point, you have to get comfortable with failing, like you're saying. I mean, it's just, it's no different than baseball. You know, you hit 300, you're almost in the Hall of Fame, right? That's a 70% fail rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Gosh, man, I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you for sharing all of that.
You're welcome.
I think that most of us, it's just we don't make a career out of it. We don't go long on ourselves. And so we think, man, if we can get this thing to go in a few months, or maybe we give it a year, or maybe we are in and out for 2 years, but it's not a sustainable in our minds. Remember, I'm doing air quotes, career. Therefore, we never put forth the belief and the action to actually get to a point where 70% that tell us no doesn't mean anything. That means we're in the Hall of Fame because we're batting 300, right? Yeah, that's so good. Dang, that's cool. I really appreciate. I'm glad I recorded this. I'll re-listen to that. That's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing. That's good stuff, y'all. If anybody wants to say anything as we end, we'll unmute now, but I can't say anything better than that. All right. Well, Joe, appreciate you sharing. Thank you for your wisdom. Pixie, thank you for sharing as well. Thank you guys for hopping on. Always awesome to see you. Have a great Wednesday. Bye, guys.